Masha and the Big Friendly Bear. Once upon a time, in a small, picturesque village nestled deep within a dense forest, there lived a curious and adventurous girl named Masha. Masha was known throughout the village for her wild imagination and insatiable curiosity. She had a mop of unruly red hair, sparkling green eyes, and a mischievous grin that never seemed to leave her face. Masha was 10 years old, and every day was a new adventure waiting to happen. Masha lived with her grandmother in a cozy cottage on the outskirts of the village. Her parents had passed away when she was very young, and her grandmother, Baba Yava, had raised her with love and care. Baba Yava was a wise woman with long, silver hair and a warm, crinkly smile that could melt anyone's heart. She often told Masha stories about the magical creatures that roamed the forest and the secrets hidden within its depths. One bright and sunny morning, Masha woke up with a sense of excitement bubbling inside her. She had heard a whisper from the forest the night before, and it was a whisper she couldn't ignore. The voice seemed to call her name, beckoning her to come and explore the mysteries of the woods. Masha, my dear, Baba Yava said as she handed Masha a basket filled with fresh bread and berries. Remember to be careful in the forest. It can be a wild and unpredictable place. Masha nodded, her eyes sparkling with determination. I will, Baba Yava. I promise to be careful. With the basket slung over her arm and a sense of adventure in her heart, Masha ventured into the forest. The trees towered overhead, their branches forming a lush, green canopy that filtered the sunlight into a dappled mosaic on the forest floor. The air was filled with the scent of pine and wildflowers, and the songs of birds filled Masha's ears. As Masha wandered deeper into the woods, she couldn't help but feel that she was being watched. She turned around but saw no one. Who's there? She called out, her voice trembling slightly. No one answered, but the whisper she had heard the night before returned, carried by the gentle rustling of leaves. Masha, come deeper into the forest. I have something to show you. Curiosity overwhelmed Masha's fear, and she followed the soft voice deeper into the woods. Soon, she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in golden sunlight. In the center of the clearing stood the most enormous, furry creature she had ever seen. It was a bear, but not just any bear. It was a bear unlike any other. This bear was not fierce or threatening. Instead, it had a friendly, gentle expression on its face, and its eyes sparkled with kindness. Its fur was a rich brown, and it glistened in the sunlight. Masha gasped in awe. You're the biggest bear I have ever seen. The bear smiled, revealing rows of gleaming white teeth. And you, Masha, are the bravest little girl I have ever met. My name is Boris, and I have watched over this forest for as long as I can remember. Masha approached Boris cautiously, still amazed by the friendly demeanor of the enormous bear. I'm Masha. What brings you to the edge of the forest today? Boris lowered his head, and Masha saw a trace of sadness in his eyes. Masha, the forest is changing. The balance of nature is shifting, and I fear that the magic of these woods is in danger. That's why I called out to you. I believe you can help me. Masha's curiosity deepened. How can I help, Boris? The bear's voice was soft, almost a whisper. You have a special connection with this forest, Masha. Your heart is pure, and your imagination is boundless. I need your help to protect the magic that dwells here. Masha nodded, determination burning in her eyes. I will do whatever it takes, Boris. And so, Masha and Boris the big friendly bear embarked on a magical journey to restore the balance of the forest. They encountered mystical creatures like talking owls, mischievous sprites, and even a wise old tree spirit who guided them on their quest. As they traveled deeper into the heart of the forest, Masha learned about the delicate balance of nature. She discovered that the forest's magic was fading because humans from the nearby village were cutting down trees, polluting the rivers, and disrupting the harmony of the woodland creatures. Together, Masha and Boris worked tirelessly to protect the forest. They planted new trees, cleaned the rivers, and even convinced the villagers to adopt more sustainable practices. Masha's boundless imagination and kind heart inspired the villagers to care for the forest as much as she did. Months turned into years, and Masha grew older, but her adventures with Boris continued. They explored hidden caves, discovered ancient ruins, and even had tea parties with a group of wise old foxes. Masha's bond with Boris grew stronger with each passing day, and she realized that she had found a true friend in the big friendly bear. One day, as Masha and Boris were resting by a sparkling waterfall, Masha said, Boris, I'm grateful for everything we have done together, but I miss my grandmother. She must be worried sick about me. Boris nodded understandingly. It's time for you to go back to your grandmother, Masha. You have done so much for the forest, and it will forever be grateful to you. Reluctantly, Masha bid farewell to Boris, promising to visit the forest whenever she could. She returned to her grandmother's cottage, where Baba Yava. Years passed, and Masha grew into a wise and caring young woman. She never forgot her adventures with Boris, and she continued to visit the forest, sharing stories and laughter with her old friend. The village had transformed, becoming a heaven of sustainability and respect for nature. All thanks to Masha's influence. One day, as Masha and Boris sat together in the clearing where they had first met, Boris spoke with a twinkle in his eye. Masha, it's time for me to move on. I have watched over this forest for centuries, but now it's in good hands. You are the guardian this forest needs. Masha nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you, Boris, for everything. You'll always be in my heart. With a final, gentle smile, Boris vanished into the depths of the forest, becoming one with the magic he had protected for so long. Masha continued to protect and nurture the forest, just as Boris had taught her. She became known as the forest guardian, and her bond with the woodland creatures grew stronger with each passing day. She married a kind-hearted man from the village who shared her love for nature, and they raised their children to appreciate the beauty and magic of the forest. And so, the story of Masha and the big friendly bear became a legend in the village, a tale of a brave girl and her unlikely friend who had saved the forest and its magic for generations to come.